Have you heard about the concept of a nested web agency? This is something that we've been coaching in DoubleStack for over 3 years. I've been doing it in my own agency for over a decade, but I'm almost reluctant to tell you about it, even though it's one of the most powerful ways to sell websites. It comes with such a trap that it can be really dangerous. I'm Lee Blue, I'm the founder of DoubleStack, where I personally mentor some of today's top-earning web designers. And this concept of a nested agency is one of the ways that we're able to land such great clients so consistently without really even trying. Let me give you a couple of examples, but I'm going to throw in a trick question in just a little bit. After I give you some legit examples, I'll throw in this trick question and see if you can detect what the difference is. But the concept of this nested agency, it's something that happens in like all other industries. And so I even made a list of like, just in my own personal life where I've seen this. I'll tell you where I first saw it was I had this contract. I was building this electronic medical record system for a bunch of doctors. And then I started getting connected with these functional medicine doctors and started helping them with some of their local web design and local marketing. And these functional medicine doctors use this concept of like a nested agency, but not for web design, but for selling medical gear. So like people would come in to these functional medicine doctors because they had all kinds of health issues that like the mainstream health world just wasn't helping them with. A lot of it was like chronic fatigue, migraine headaches was a really big thing. All kinds of digestive disorders like SIBO or glucose sensitivity issues and stuff like that. IBS, all these like major problems that can really mess people up. And the mainstream health world just wasn't helping them. So they go to these functional medicine doctors. The doctors onboard the patients. And then they say, hey, you know what? In order to monitor your progress through this health program, you're going to need like this heart rate monitor, this Apple Watch. Well, even back then, they didn't have Apple Watches. Back then, they were using like these Garmin, like chest heart rate monitor straps and Garmin watches and stuff. Today, they're using Apple Watch stuff. But the point that I'm making is, if you had just gone to the original people and just tried to sell them heart rate monitors and Apple Watches and stuff, they'd be like, yeah, I don't really want the heart rate monitor. They're uncomfortable. I don't want the watch. I'm not going to buy that stuff. And so it's really hard to sell like the more technical stuff up front. But if you flip it and you bring people in because you're going to help them solve this deeper health problem with like their chronic fatigue or their migraines or something, and then they onboard as a patient for that. And then you say, well, in order to make it through this program, you got to get this heart rate monitor. They're like, yeah, no problem. Which one should I buy? Well, just get this one. Okay, done. And they just buy the heart rate monitor without even thinking about it. And this happens in so many other industries. I made a list. So we just talked about the functional medicine doctors. Naturopaths do this with selling supplements. Personal trainers do this with selling like other supplements like protein powders and stuff. Dentists, like I was just at the dentist last week and it's like, I hate going to the dentist. And one of the things that's so crazy about the dentist is when you go, like when I first started going, which is really good, you should definitely go to the dentist. I go every 6 months, it's a great idea. But one of the first things that happened was they said, well, what kind of toothbrush are you using? And so they got me one of these electric toothbrushes, like a Sonicare or whatever it is. And I didn't get, like if someone just said, hey, go buy a Sonicare toothbrush, I probably would have said, I'm fine with the toothbrush I've already got. But then the dentist says, if you want to have a better experience next 6 months when you come back in and you want to have an easier cleaning, get one of these better toothbrushes. So that's another example. Chiropractors. I go to this chiropractor. Anuka. Ever heard of Anuka? I talked about Anuka a couple of times on the channel before. It's NUCCA. It's the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association. It's a particular type of chiropractor that focuses on like that top vertebrae and everything. But the point is, when I first went to go see Dr. Mike, one of the very first things he said was, what kind of pillow are you using? Because that's like a big deal. What pillow you use to sleep on so you don't lose your correction. So if he had said, why don't you go buy this super expensive fancy pillow without being a patient of his, I probably would have said, I'm fine with the pillow I've already got. But now that I'm actually paying him to help me with my back and my neck and everything, then of course I'm just going to say, well, yeah, I should probably get a better pillow. Which one do you recommend? And he just pointed me to a pillow and I just got the one he said. Hair salons and shampoos, dog trainers and pet gear, accountants and QuickBooks. Like there's so many different things where you end up buying stuff that you didn't really go for originally, but you're like, well, of course I need that stuff in order to get the success that I'm looking for, and I don't really know how to pick the right one, so I'm just going to listen to whatever you say. And it's such a huge, it's just such a great way to sell web design this way. But let me give you the trick. The trick is, here's the trick question. What do you think about real estate agents who have people like home inspectors? And so you might hire the real estate agent, and then you're like, well, we need a home inspection. And then you hire a home inspector. Do you see the trick? The trick is you don't want to be the home inspector. And what's the difference between the home inspector and the real estate agent and all the other examples that we just gave? All the other examples is if you're the home inspector, the real estate agent's getting your clients. In all these other examples, the actual person, like you are the functional medicine doctor, you're the naturopath, you're the dentist, you're the dog trainer, you're the account, like you're the guy that's bringing in the leads, and then you're also offering them something else that you're making money on. And I'm not saying that you have to necessarily do the work, all the work yourself. Like for example, in web agencies and stuff, you might bring clients on and then recommend that they run ads or recommend that they do SEO or social media management or something that you don't want to do it all yourself, but you're bringing in the clients and you're making money on having like someone else on your team or a white labeled service or somebody else doing the other thing. So you're the one in control of the leads, not the other way around. And this is such a huge trap because when I first got started with my agency, like I started my agency like way back in like 2002, and I gradually morphed into doing more like local web design and local marketing and everything. And I thought I had this genius idea where I was going to get connected up with ad agencies and I would just do the outsourced web design from the agency, and I would just get a couple of relationships with agencies. They would do all the marketing, find the clients, like do all the like the heavy lifting stuff of actually connecting with businesses, and then I would just build the websites for them. And I got to tell you, if that's the path that you're going down, stop going down that path. It's a dead end road. You will never make a business out of that. It's worse than just having a job. It's like, go have them hire you to be their web agent, web design person, rather than trying to outsource like that, because you're at any particular time, they can be like, yeah, you're too expensive now, or we hired internal staff to build websites. That happened to me. I had this agency that I was working with that was doing like college applications, like, you apply to go to college and everything. And then I had this great idea, like, wouldn't it be awesome if you could just get the mailer, so you could then have a choice of like manually filling out the paper application, or you could just like type in this code on a website and a lot of your application be filled out for you. And then basically all I had to do was write the essays and stuff. So wouldn't that be great? And then after I did that for like one season, like one year, they're like, yeah, that was such a great idea, but you're so expensive as an outsourced person. We'll just hire someone internally to do it. And then I lost all of that business, right? And so like, it's just a dead end job. And then of course, on top of that, you're not getting paid vacation. You're not getting any medical or health benefits. It's like, you're just acting like an employee without any of the benefits. It's just a complete disaster. So don't be that guy. Don't be the outsourced agency person. It's really, really important that you are the one that's attracting the leads. And if you can if you can just stay on that path, you can do so much. You can sell so much web design, help so many people. Because one of the biggest problems in web design right now is that there's this giant wall of skepticism between people like you and me and these local business owners, because the business owners are getting all these spammy pitches of like, buying all these cheap websites and everything. And maybe they've even done that once and it didn't work out. And now they just say no to anyone who approaches them for any kind of online marketing, even people like you and me. And so how do you break through that wall of skepticism? Well, or how do you do a nested web agency in a way that actually is successful for both us and the people that we're trying to work with, these local business owners? And that's where this concept of local legends comes into play. And I talk a lot about local legends. I'm going to put a training up in the corner at the end of this video as well, so you can click on that. Maybe a link in the description too, on how to do the local legend stuff. Because local legends is basically the idea that you build a community, maybe online, but maybe in person too, but definitely at least a website where you can spotlight the best local businesses in your community, and then you give them authentic visibility for free. Meaning like you spotlight their business and maybe email your list, post on your socials, and kind of just push their business out for free, because you've got this website that's spotlighting the best businesses in your area. And it's free to be listed, but it's invitation only. So people just can't randomly sign up. They have to be sort of vetted by you. And so now you're sort of the gatekeeper of online visibility for all of the best local businesses in your community. And there's kind of a lot that goes into it, like how do you invite people and what do you actually include in all of that stuff? And that's going to be in the training, so you can check that out. But then what happens is you're now sort of like the central hub of the business community. So when it comes time to do web design or digital marketing or building an email list or like any kind of marketing that you want to offer, you're like the go-to guy. Like you're like, people can be like, well, I don't know who should build my website. You're like, well, you should just hire us. We'll do it for you. In the same way that when the functional medicine doctors bring on a patient and they're like, yeah, you're going to need a heart rate monitor. They're gonna be like, I don't know what heart rate monitor I should get. Which one should I get? And they'll just sell one to you. Like, buy that one. That's what we would do with this. That's the concept of a nested web agency. And another huge benefit. Does that make sense, by the way? If that does make sense, do a thumbs up or subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming trainings. But if you do the nested web agency thing, then you build all of this trust, you get all of these leads, and there's a huge difference in the type of lead that you get when you have one of these nested agencies as opposed to the leads that you get when you're trying to like get found like through SEO or something for web design. And the difference is when you bring in people through this kind of nested agency concept, you're getting these clients that have these giant like business health problems as opposed to clients that want to hire you just for your skills. You see what I mean? Another way to think about that is when you start connecting with business owners and kind of breaking through that wall of skepticism, because you're not just offering them cheap web design services, you're actually offering to give them authentic visibility, even for free if they need it. You know, there's obviously paid services as well, but you can like start the relationship for free. Then you end up with people that are like, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing. And look, it's working. And lots of other people seem to like him. And it's very trustworthy. And like my business profile on this cool website looks awesome. So you're obviously good at web design. Like it's breaking through all of these walls of skepticism that are preventing people like you and me from actually reaching like legitimate, like local business owners. And so like good people are connecting to good people. And it's so exciting. I see this happening every day. In fact, I'm kind of on a mission at this point to put a local legends community in like every city in the United States. And so if you're the kind of person that really likes helping people and you know that you can do a good job for people, but you're just feel like you're kind of hitting that wall of skepticism so you can't connect with the business owners you want, dude, totally check out the Local Legends training, and maybe you'll be the guy that does the Local Legends in your community. So, but here's the thing that's different about the leads that you get through this kind of Local Legends sort of nested agency thing. You don't have to change their minds about stuff. Like, have you never noticed how hard it is when somebody comes in and says, hey, I just want a website? And you're like, no, you actually need more than that. You actually need this whole marketing strategy. And then you try to like bend their thinking into wanting more than they came in for. It's really, really hard to do that. In fact, it's so hard to do that, I made an entire video about it and put it right here. So if you feel like you're kind of stuck with either these like cheap referrals or just word of mouth marketing, where you get these clients that are coming in and like, hey, I just want a website. And you're like, actually, I think you should do some SEO and some pay-per-click advertising and maybe some social media stuff. And like, you just need this whole marketing, you need funnels and everything. And they're like, well, you know, I don't actually think I need that. I just want the cheap website. You got to check out this video right here. And before you go, don't forget to check out the Local Legends training. So either way, I'll see you in just a minute.